Hello, this is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist. Thank you for tuning in today. We are here for Black women and toxic jobs and talking about how do you heal and thrive. So, not only how do you survive, but how do you thrive? So, we have a very special guest today. I have her introduce herself and we're going to get right into the conversation. So, again, thank you for joining in today. Welcome to my channel, Lifting as We Climb Consulting, Wellness Services, where I focus on helping to support Black women leave toxic jobs so they can have a more abundant, fulfilling life. So I'm going to turn it over to my special guest today, Mocha. If you can introduce yourself, please.
Hello. Hey, hi everyone. I am Mocha Moizelle. I left the US in 2020. It's been over 2 years now. I've been in Jamaica. And yeah, I've been the toxic job person. I've been the all those things that we traditionally experience. I have experienced them. So I'm ready to tell my story.
Yes. Yes. And she has just such a you see the radiance, right? The color, the energy, everything. And
Yes.
so Mocha, does work with Stephanie Perry. And so she was talking about moving to Jamaica, and I was so like intrigued by that. And she talked some about, she left, she went to Jamaica to create a new life for herself after being in a toxic job. So I was very intrigued. So thank you, Mocha, again for being here today. So, can you share with the audience about a toxic work experience that you've had? What was that like? What was that experience? And how did it impact you?
I want to say all my work experiences were toxic work experience.
Oh,
Except the current one I'm doing now. I love
okay.
Stephanie. This is the only job I think that I actually have ever liked.
Wow.
But yeah, I had not have good, experience working for people typically. And at some point I was like, what am I doing? Like this hour
Mm,
ain't working. I think it's time to try something new.
try something new.
But you have those pressures of constantly being like, employed, you gotta work, So I found myself, in this constant, like I hated working. Like I was like, I hate this. Like there has to be
Another way.
way. But you don't have that guidance mostly. You just doing what
Yeah.
go to school, get an education, get a
Mhm.
good whatever that is.
Right.
And that was a trajectory I was
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I want to say, my last, well, the job before my last job. So, well, a little bit about me. So, I have a background in education and creative arts, things of that nature. So, um, I was living in upstate New York. Problem number one, I was already miserable, seasonal depression. I didn't know what was going on. Like, I had no business being up there. I'm originally from
Mm,
Mississippi. So, again, I'm going through, the motions and not realizing how it's taking a toll on me.
mm,
I was like, up there trying to make a name for myself. I done got all these degrees, well, bachelor and masters, whatever. And I was actually in the process of applying for a PhD before I came to Jamaica. But I was like, I'm just continue on the path of just doing stuff for the sake of it. So let me get into the question.
well, you gave me a good backstory. Let me just say something too, that what you just said already was very valuable in the sense that many of us have been told the same thing. You go to school, you get the degrees, you get the job, everything gonna be good, right? And you get to those situations, you're like, this is not what I expected or wanted. And when you get in those situations, like, this is not what I want for my life.
Um,
And when you talked about Mocha, now you uprooted yourself to go someplace and you were miserable, right? And you were miserable, but you didn't really pay attention to what was going on
mhm. And
immediately, right?
I was a hopper. I was uprooting all the time. Like I
Oh,
because I'm still trying to find, I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, this is not,
Uh-huh.
nothing is working.
Yeah.
And I honestly can say I never really felt settled until I moved to Jamaica. And people are like, "You
Oh.
plan on going anywhere else?" I'm like, "Nope, I'm good. I'm at home." Like I'm here. I finally feel like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Crazy enough.
Yeah.
So I want to say, when was this? Um, I want to say maybe like a year or so before the pandemic happened. So I had left upstate New York. Um, Brutal winters. I had got the offer to come apply for a position at a university that I formerly attended. Um, so I was like, okay, sure. That seems right up my alley. It was something I was back in the South. I was like, I at least get some sunlight. Especially it's hard to find decent paying jobs where I'm from in Mississippi. So I was like, okay, maybe, I'll make it work, whatever. So I went to teach at this university. And from the jump, it was the flags were there. But
Mm.
I was like, okay, it's just well. So the department that was traditionally, even when I was going to school there, was traditionally like a old school department. The people have been there for a long time, not really
Mm.
used accustomed to changes and things like that. So that is the environment I was entering in. And so it was dealing with it was in media production. That was my background. And I actually having to work in the field and coming back, I'm like, this stuff is not, relative to what they're going to experience when they get, out in the world and trying to
Mm.
pop jobs and things like that. So um I wasn't voicing that, but I was trying to coordinate my classes and things around, the current things, and I would get pushed back from that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, things are super, 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 super outdated. Again, would not be useful to them at all. Had a hard time fighting just for like updating like basic things. Um, and then it came down to like the actual people in the department. So
So it was the nature of the work, and then it was the people at the job on
yes,
top of it. Got
yeah.
it.
Um, so we were having a meeting. So they assigned me a class that I did not have any background in.
Mm.
I was like, why am I teaching this? So I had raised it at the meeting. Cause they just throw you on something. And I'm like, I don't know
Mhm.
what this is, but they
Mhm.
just do it basically. So I was like, I brought it up at a meeting and I was like, why am I, teaching this? I don't have a background in this. And so the lady that position I had took was teaching the things that like I would assume I would be teaching, like the actual production things. And I'm like, why am I, teaching this or whatever? And so I had mentioned that, again, not to be malicious or anything. But I was like, these are the classes. I'm like, I don't know how she, I was trying to figure out how that she ended up teaching these classes and I'm ending up teaching these that I have no background in. She probably is much likely have more experience teaching this because
Mhm.
she's been there for years and years and years. So I was asking, trying to get understanding about that. Again, being curious and want some information. So post meeting, apparently, so they took that information that I was just trying that question and they ran with it. They went and told the instructor that I was talking about her in the meeting,
Oh.
that I should be grateful to have this job and all
Mm.
this stuff. And I was like, oh gosh. I had no idea
Mm.
how this was going on, right?
Mm. How'd you find out?
I'm gonna get to that. So
Okay.
she had told me, she was like, so I think it was like the following day, following week or something. I guess news had traveled again. I'm just aloof because I was just asking questions. I didn't know it was gonna be
Mhm.
made a thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was a few days, maybe a week or so later, she was like, I'm gonna be using the studio at this particular time. I'll cover, the class. Don't worry about coming because I wanna, I have a session or something set up. I was like, okay, cool, fine. So that day arrives and I get a phone call from my department chair, like, why are you not at work? And I'm like, I thought, y'all had coordinated something. I thought we was all
Mm-hmm.
on the same page. So basically she set me up so that
Oh,
she set me up to for it looked like I was not coming to work.
oh
Um
wow. She just straight flat out lied to you
yeah,
to
yeah,
set you
yeah,
up to
yeah,
fail.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
And it again, it was like, I'm like, what in the world is going on? It's like, is it that deep? Because I did, again, yeah. So she set me up, and it was this whole hoopla, and then she finally said, "Well, you was saying this." I'm like, I didn't say. I said, in my brain, I'm like, I didn't say how you are interpreting, what I
right,
said.
right.
And yeah, she was upset. Yes, you did say it. They said. I'm like, oh gosh, this can't be life. This is at a university level.
This cannot be life.
This is at a
Yes,
university level at which I'm teaching. And I was like, oh man, this ain't gonna work. But at
yeah.
the time still I was like, I was of course like, I was disappointed and all these other things, but I was at that point I was like, okay, I need to start preparing for an exit strategy or something. Even though
Mm,
I had the heart, I was like, you know, I would like to stay. And the students, of course, like we kind of had our little tight knit community or whatever. But yeah, that experience alone, I was like, this is not it.
that's not it. Yeah.
So
And
that was that. I don't know
yeah.
question.
Well, yeah, yeah. So what I'm wondering, Mocha, is when that happened, you talked about like what, like the shock of it, and then also like this is just not the place for me. So that kind of confirmed that that was not the place for you. So I'm curious, and I'm sure people watching are curious in terms of as you were at that job, what was going on for yourself that you knew that this was not the place for you, right? Like some people like start dreading going to work, or they're like, the thought of certain people would like make them just annoyed. What was it like for you? Like what were the signs for you that it was toxic and it was time to go besides that other situation?
It was the just lack of wanting to, move forward into like the current, technology. Um, just I don't know. I'm like, it's just so backwards. But you want so much, and then it was also like a lot of like she also would not like let that job go. So she would like constantly coming in, like checking behind me, making sure, I'm like, so it
Like
was,
like she's like micromanaging you?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, the motorbikes. But
okay.
it was the micromanaging again. This I have fully taken on this position, but I was like, I just attributed that she had been there for a very long time. She had cultivated that space. I was like,
Hmm.
maybe she's just having a hard time letting go, but still. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like after that I kind of started dreading it and just trying to figure out, what the next thing was gonna be. I was tired. I was like, I was hoping to at least be here for at least a little while because I wanted to, get settled in and everything. But um yeah, I was like, dang, again. I was like, I thought we was getting somewhere, kind of, sort of. I was like,
Uh-huh.
sticking it out.
Yeah.
Don't mind it. It's not horrible outside of the people. Like, it's okay. I can manage this. But yeah, it eventually turned into another, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
so I was very much, I could not keep a job, retain a job.
Mm,
That was it all over again. So that,
yeah. And it's interesting, Mocha, is I think a lot of Black women have a similar experience where it's more than one toxic job. It's like the same kind of thing. keeps happening. And sometimes as Black women, we start thinking, is it me? Right?
We
But I,
normalize this because, like I said, I grew up in Mississippi, so
mm-hmm,
that was that was you in the big leagues now. It wasn't
mm,
paid, but it's like, oh, you have like a regular paying job. Like, you
mm-hmm,
don't you mess that up. You got a good
mm,
job.
yeah,
That's what we normalize it. Like,
yeah,
don't rock the boat. Don't say
yeah,
nothing. Don't just
yes,
put your head down, do your job.
yes.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
keep your
what we
head
are
down.
with. Like, that's our conditioning, right?
Yes,
Glad
absolutely.
you got a job. Be happy, be
Mm-hmm,
thankful.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think, again, it was like you recognize something is wrong, but you don't
Yeah,
necessarily know what to do about it. I'm like, what am I
yeah.
supposed to do if I'm not, doing this?
Yeah.
Like,
And you try so many things to make it work and it's still not working. And you know what's interesting, Mocha, is that a lot of us have had that same social programming in our families, right? No, you stay at that job, it's a good job, right? Just make it work, whatever. But I think for a lot of us, we're like, no, 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 no. Like, I deserve better than this. First of all. Second of all, I'm not going to be silent and just put my head down. I'm going to ask for clarification, but I think what you experience is what a lot of us experience too is that when we try to get clarity, the
mm,
system is like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
you trying to mess up what we're doing here, and we're
exactly.
going to make it really difficult for you.
And I'm just up here, I'm just asking general questions. I
Right.
didn't know it was it was gonna be all of this. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, again, my mind is completely in a whole other world. I left that meeting, I
Right.
focused on something else. Child, they was mad at
They were
me.
mad they were going to get you, like, so that you were going to be punished. So
Right.
they were trying to punish you,
Yeah.
and you were like, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah.
So, Mocha, so people were saying to you, stick it out, right? But
Mhm.
you knew you had to get out. So, how did you deal with that? What did you do? So, was this family, friends? Who was saying this to you? And how did you maneuver yourself and say, no, I got to get out?
Um, it was family. I think my friends pretty much know me. They know I if I ain't feeling it, I just be gone. I'm just going to the next one. But
Okay.
at that point, I was like, well, of course, like, throughout the duration, like, I had tried different things to earn income without a job. Had my hand in different, like, entrepreneurial efforts and things like that. So I had been trying for a while to relieve myself of traditional employment, but
Yeah.
nothing. I was not able. Well, I wasn't gonna say I wasn't able to, but I was at the time. I wasn't, be able to sustain myself with it alone. So at that job, I was like, I do not want to work another job. Like, I can't do it.
Mm,
Like, I don't ever want to do it again.
yeah.
But I was talking to my aunt about it. She was like, "Girl, you need a job." I was like, so I was like, I don't want to do it no more.
Yeah.
But
So family didn't understand.
no, but I still ended up. I went and applied for some more jobs because I didn't know
Mm,
what am I supposed to do. So I ended up, after that. I was working at a literary arts program, like, a few, I want to say about 15, 20 minutes away from where I'm working. And then it was a few months in, I was like, okay, I give up. Like, I'm not working on more jobs.
ooh, okay. Like, I tried again, and this
I
is
tried one
confirmation.
more
This is
time.
not for me.
Yeah. So, um, that was it. So at that point, I was like, I'm going to do something that's like kind of just, I show, like, nothing is obligated to me outside my, like, presence. Or so I think I moved somewhere else. I moved to Tennessee. That's when I was starting to apply for PhD programs. Um, and I was like, I'll go. I was like, I was substitute teaching for a while. I go there. I was looking for those type of things to where I wouldn't be obligated to anything, but I would at least
Hmm.
I wouldn't be homeless and starving at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, okay, now I want to see about earning income online. So I started applying for online teaching jobs, and I got some online income. And so that was the online income, the teaching English online. I want to say was my saving grace because again, it wasn't anything. I showed up, went through the lessons that were already made. I didn't do anything outside of talking and reading to kids. And then after that,
Okay.
I was done. I was able to actually like, have the rest of my time freed up and figure out, something more substantial for myself. So that's where I said I was done with that type of like I guess the career ladder thing and all that other stuff. I was like, I'll find these little end jobs or whatever to sustain me until
Hmm.
I figure out like, what the plan is. Cause I'm not
Yeah.
can't do it. I give up.
Yeah. Well, I give up with that, right?
Yeah.
I give up
Yeah.
with that way of
Yeah.
thinking and people trying to make me think I should be this
Mhm.
way, but that's not who I am,
Right.
right? So you said
Right.
I give up with that and
Yeah.
I'm going to be honoring myself. So you
Mhm.
talked, which was really good, Mocha, that sometimes we need to have a bridge to where we're trying to go, right? So you were like, okay, I'm going to teach English. This is an easy kind of thing. It's a way to make money. This is not a career thing for me,
Right.
right? So
Right.
how did you exit, how did you pivot? You know what I'm saying? How did you pivot to end up where you are now?
I want to say, if all honesty, I taught the English online. It was part time. It was a few hours out of the day. But I rested. Like I think that's like important. That's how I pivoted.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I took a break. I taught. I made sure I wasn't hungry and and homeless. That was
yes.
it. That was I wanted my bare minimum basics covered. And so I was like,
Uh-huh.
I just for that time I was mapping it out as I go, but I was not in a, rush or nothing was
Yeah,
urgent. I was just
yeah,
like breathing and
yeah.
living and like decompressing from all of that.
And healing. You were
Yeah,
healing, right? So
yeah,
taking rest helps us heal.
yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how I pivoted. That's how I got clarity, on what it is that I wanted to do. That's how I was able to, make the certain moves and things that I wanted to make. Like that, it just taking a break from those environments, I think, is like, will just give you, just not working for a while, at least not in a traditional sense, will like give you so much clarity on what it is that you
Yes.
actually want to do with yourself. And I feel like that's the opportunity that's robbed from us so much. Like we're constantly like,
On the
you have
go.
no idea who you are, what you want to do, like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are just volunteer or sacrificing your time to
Yeah,
things, because that's what we are conditioned to do. So
absolutely.
that's how I pivoted. I rested. I came out here to Jamaica. I took that time. It was COVID time, so everything was kind of shut down. Just took that time to kind of build myself up, figure out how to get residency, how to, actually build a life out here, all those type of things. That's what I did.
Okay, so now you jumped into an area that I want to pivot to too, right? So and the part about you moving to Jamaica. So I know that I listen to Stephanie Perry and Rashida Dow and Adelia and Ivana, and you guys have all and Anne-Marie Archer have all left the country, right? And so how did you determine that you wanted to leave the country, and how did you decide on Jamaica?
So it was always kind of something that was in the back of my mind. Like, I wonder what it's like to live, outside. So I studied Pan Africanism in grad school. So, I had been toying with the idea of Africa and also in grad school was my first time coming to Jamaica. I had Jamaican classmates. I came down with them for like a summer for a few weeks, just to, I don't know, see, just to visit. At that time, I was not thinking I was going to be living out in Jamaica. I was like, oh, let me go, out here and see. It was like a really just stay with their family for a while. Um, but, ooh, I lost track of the question.
So I
Ooh,
said, how did you figure out about Jamaica, right? So
okay,
you see all these Black women who are leaving the country. How did you decide on
okay,
decide I'm gonna leave the country and I'm going to
okay.
Jamaica?
So yeah, it had something that had been in the back of my mind. But once I started making money online and the job was I could be anywhere doing it, I was like, what am I over here for? was like, and that's I was like, not only am I giving up on this, I was like, it wasn't enough just living in America alone was toxic for me. Like
Yeah.
just the jobs and just the actually being there. I was like, Shh, y'all done messed up. Let me get this computer and an online job. I'm out of here. So
And
like,
letting you know you had options.
right. I was like, I don't have to
Yeah.
physically be anywhere. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
like the wheels started churning. I was like, child, I'm finna go. So how did Jamaica happen? So I said if I was going to leave, I wanted to live in a predominantly black country. That was my requirement.
Mm.
I want to live. I want to see as less white people as I possibly can. That was my main factor. And then I was like, okay, of course the first idea was Africa, but I was like, Africa is expensive to get there. It's very, 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 very far. And then I was like thinking, like, what about Mexico? I was like, I don't speak Spanish fluently. I was like, I think it's too many white people. That was literally my thought process. Like, where can I go where the less white?
You want to be with all black, well, most
I was like,
majority
I
black
want to be with
country.
my folks. And
Yeah.
I was like, Jamaica. I was like, it's predominantly black. It's not too far. It's a hop and a skip from the States in the event that I ever need to get home. It's not expensive to travel to. It's it's like a baby Africa, still very culturally, inclined for the most part. In some areas, um, it's English speaking mostly. The food, I got my. It's basically like it just made perfect sense for me. And again, I grew up in the South and in a rural environment, so it wasn't that big of a shock or anything. I was like, all
Got
right,
it.
I can go there, and then it's like I can blend in, and that was basically how that happened. So that was my thought process. Once I was like certain Jamaica, I went to some of them Facebook groups. I was like, anybody in Jamaica? And then one lady responded, "Oh my gosh, thank God." She responded, and she was like, "We hit it off. We started talking." And she was like, I can come, you want to come, I can help you get set up or, whatever, and help you, get on your way." And that's how it happened. I typically don't
Wow.
recommend people do that, but
Wow. So
I
it's
was like,
interesting. Yeah. So you talked about several things with exit planning, right? So number one, you recognize a sign, I need to get out of here because this is not
mm,
the life that I want for myself.
mm,
Then you decided I can start working remotely, teaching English anywhere. And
mhm,
you also got that rest, which is so important. And you built community. Well, with that one woman, right? You reached out and found out somebody else is there and you made the move. So now that you're in Jamaica, do you regret leaving any of those jobs? And do you regret moving to Jamaica?
I don't regret none of it. I just say
Yes.
I didn't happen. It didn't happen sooner. I wish I had I don't know. I wish the opportunity had presented itself sooner.
Yeah.
I don't regret any of that stuff. Like
Yeah.
not at
Yeah.
all. And then it's like they probably have their things to say about me. Or she was this, she was that. Child, I don't even care. Like I'm so happy to not be living over there. Like I'm
Mm.
just so elated. Like I was crying this morning. I was like, wow, look at my life. Like look at me looking at the mountains.
Oh, tears of joy, tears of joy. And just think how
Yeah.
many Black women were crying tears of dread at these toxic jobs. And you are looking at Mocha, she crying tears of joy this morning.
Like, man, I hate stepping foot over in the US. Like that's just what it is for me. I know everybody is different, but I would cry if I ever had to like live over there permanently again. Like I can't stand it.
Wow.
So that's what it is for me. I'm elated, and I'm so glad I picked Jamaica again because it's perfect for me. Like so,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, I did a lot of hopping in the States. Like I lived in a bunch of different areas. None of it felt like it. I was just like repeat after repeat after repeat. and like coming out here, getting to actually, experience existing outside of the US, existing outside of whiteness. I don't think that's talked about enough, how liberating that is, to not have your existence centered around
Mm,
whiteness, and all that type of stuff. Like, it's so liberating and it's so freeing, and something that I
mm,
wish for everybody. But it's definitely something to talk about. So
yeah. Can you share a little bit more? I think that people are intrigued by that. Can you share a little bit more about it, like about how liberating it is?
I guess, well, being in Jamaica, if you've encountered Jamaicans in your life, you'll see how boasted,
Mhm.
bold they are. But once living here, you get to see why. And they don't have all those conditions. Well, not gonna say all. They have some. Not There's no utopia. Please understand that.
Mhm.
But the same
Mhm.
conditions that we have as Black people living in America, just trying for survival,
Yes.
can exist here. People, they just more freer. They just,
Mm.
they don't have all those restrictions,
Yeah.
and then that they put on themselves, and that we put on ourselves, trying to, again, just for survival. Now, I don't know. It's sunny year round. Like, it's like, why would you not be,
Yeah.
nutritious food? Food is literally growing everywhere. Like, I can walk down and just pluck stuff on the
Yeah.
trees, like, you
And you
know,
know,
yeah.
yeah, it's like the opposite of what we experience many times in America, right? Is that we're always like on guard and scared and
Mhm.
looking around, survival, like you talked about, right? But
Yeah,
what you're saying is that there you see life all around you and you feel freedom. You feel true
right,
freedom. And I
right.
think a lot of Black people in America, we don't necessarily feel that way, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very different experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, I would say, for the most part, again, like, I try not to romanticize stuff, because
Yeah.
but as far as just like existing as an individual, as a person, I feel much freer.
Mm,
And again, not having my day and my time, my life, centered around this stuff, centered around what white people gonna think, what they gonna say, or whoever else. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. I think you reconstruct your DNA when you, like, and I
That's
think
deep. Reconstruct your DNA.
DNA has been reconstructed. Like, this is how we're supposed to be.
Yes.
What if, we had never been placed in those environments? Like, how would
Yes.
we exist? And that's also another thing. I was like, I had to think about, if I was not put in this place and I had to survive the way that I had to survive, what would I be doing? Like, what would I be worrying about going to school? Would I be worrying about, trying to slave my little life away? What would I be doing? So it starts to become like a mental um thing, that I had to basically train and prepare myself for mentally, because again,
Yeah.
that's another thing to overcome, because so we're reliant, and again, to our survival, yes, we typically need traditional employment, and we typically need these things, so America and capitalism
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's a
And I
lot.
think, oh, I'm
It's a
sorry.
lot to mentally prepare yourself for. So
Yeah. And you say I put reconstructing our DNA. I love that. I'll put that on the screen. I love that quote. So, when we're working at jobs, a lot of times we have to kind of dim our light. So that's not us being free. We have to kind of go within and not shine too bright and all that kind of stuff.
mhm.
And I don't know if you saw this article, Mocha, recently on LinkedIn. It was talking about how for Black people with white managers, if they talk about their accomplishments or what they've done, then they get dinged, right? So it's kind of like, oh, you're trying to shine too bright, you're trying to be too big, you're trying to, right? But with other groups, it's not the same way. So you're like, no, I want to be in my full glory, and I don't feel like
Yes.
I need to dim my light to anybody. So Mocha, can you share with people, what are you doing now? Like, what are you doing now in Jamaica? Somebody asked, are you still teaching online? So they're curious, like, what are you doing now in Jamaica?
So I was teaching English online for a while. Again, I think it was over a year, almost 2 years. That's what I was doing. They had something where I think China passed some laws or something to where it basically kind of got shut down to teaching
Mm,
kids. I think they have it to where you can teach adults now, but
okay.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay.
I got an email one day in my inbox from Stephanie Perry saying I'm hiring. I was like, what's this about? Let me see. So I clicked on it, I opened it up, and I was like, oh, that's my job. So I had started documenting my experience on YouTube about me coming and moving to Jamaica. I had, some technical know-how, background, media, all this other stuff. And so I was reading, I was like, this is for me. After I had said I wasn't applying for no more jobs, I was like, I got one more. Maybe I got one more,
Ah, what
um,
made this one different? How did
because
you know?
it was because I had been watching her content. So I was,
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, this is, like you finally find like I was like, oh, I feel the same way. I ain't trying to
Yeah.
be doing all this stuff. I don't believe in working. I don't want so
I
when
want
I
to live a life of ease too.
so I saw the opportunity and I was like, let me apply. And basically, yeah, it's been the perfect thing. Like I said, I've never enjoyed working, but I actually like this job. So it was
Awesome.
it was for a Black woman. We was in a similar mind frame. I had the experience and the know-how for the most part. As far as I believe, I don't know what she was thinking, but I was like, "This is my job."
You claimed it.
this,
Like,
yeah,
this is my job being posted.
well, this is for me. This is for me. And I was so anti-job, but I was like, let me go ahead and try this. And yeah, so
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what I'm doing now. But I have started, so me and some other so around the time, I want to say a little after I moved to Jamaica, I started a Facebook group called Black Expats and Repats in Jamaica. So it
It's called
was
what again? I'm sorry. Tell me again.
uh Black Expats and Repats in Jamaica. I'm transitioning off of Facebook, so please don't go searching for it because you won't
Oh, okay.
find
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I was gonna
I
give more
won't even put that up
information.
there. Okay.
So right now I'm building an online community. I'm building my own little mini Facebook. So we've been on Facebook for over 2 years. And so basically our intention was to help people move to Jamaica long term, permanently, understand the residency process. Consulting and all that type of stuff was the business model. But what we discovered with being on Facebook is that for some reason, we got everything but people who were trying to, not gonna say everything, but we do have like a solid, people, group of people in there who are in there, but it's a lot of it is just people coming there asking tourist questions, or
Mm.
they in there trying to run behind some man they done met on the beach or the internet.
Oh gosh.
They they in there just being no, it's like I was like, this is not the space for us to like function properly, because it's, and people also under the impression that they can just come and move to a country without understanding the legalities and all that things, and trying to get people to do stuff the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're transitioning off of Facebook, so I'm building my own community, which should be available soon. That's what I'm doing now. And I'm building my stuff up, my Mocha Moizelle brand, and I have some clothing.
It beautiful? I love the colors.
Right,
Yes.
right here, if you can see. So I'm building like my little ecosystem, but also it's important for me to be doing things locally in Jamaica. So Black Expats and Repats in Jamaica, we are like in the process of, we've done a lot. We've been featured out in the TV and the news out here. We have link ups with other expats, and we like kind of go have them in different places of the island so people can get to actually experience the different parts of Jamaica, because it differs depending on where you're going. And That's what I'm doing. So now basically we are assisting with the migration process to Jamaica. I have my stuff that I'm building and I'm working on. And that's the plan. I have businesses registered out here. So yeah, when I came here, because I was like, I'm going to live out here. I need to, figure out how to, because I didn't just want to be like, somebody who was just here. Like I wanted to put roots like down like in
Yeah.
this country. So because a lot
Yes.
of people bop around, they hop around. I was like, no, this is home.
Yeah.
Let me figure this out. So that's what I'm doing currently.
Okay. Okay. So for people to contact you, so if they're interested in moving to Jamaica, oh, question came in. Is healthcare easy to find in Jamaica?
It depends on where you are. So if you are a expat and you want the closest kind of U.S. style existence, I recommend Kingston. Montego Bay. Montego Bay is too touristy for me. Again, it's too many of them folks out there. So I prefer being in Kingston. Um, but no, typically no. They have very good doctors out here. Again, you might want to go the private doctor route if you can afford it. Um, because they have free hospitals, they have free healthcare.
Hmm.
But again, you have to be, mindful that the local population is probably going to be most using those resources. If you have it, you might want to, just get a private doctor. It's not super expensive depending on what it is. But I also have, I think, travel and medical insurance with
Hmm.
a company. I can, what's the Safety Wing? I have an affiliate link if anyone's interested. But
It's
it's
called
it's
what again?
Safety Wing. It's an insurance company for nomads or people who
Okay.
live abroad.
Okay.
So
And I'll put that in the description section. So send me the link and I'll put that in the description section for later.
okay. So healthcare, no, I haven't had, and again, I tried to. That's another thing. Like I realize people so focused on healthcare, and not to say that they shouldn't be, but it's like I think like our health is so jeopardized living in the U.S. Right? Like
Mm,
when I was there, you under constant stress, constant strain. Those things attribute to your health that have us constantly having to be in doctors' offices and things like that.
right. Good
Rarely,
point.
I rarely, it's like something super, super serious if I go to the doctor out here. I just haven't, again, like that's the stress kills.
Yeah,
It does harmful and it has harmful and damages effects to our body.
absolutely.
Um, like I've had issues that I was dealing with in the US like for years. I have not dealt with them since I've been out here really. Not on a like
Wow.
recurrent scale.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. Some people have, their more serious conditions. They need that constant care. Yeah, you can. I would research that before you go anywhere. See which if they have, any specialties or doctors who specialize in, whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Mm,
But I have not. I've probably been to the doctor maybe twice since I've been out here, and really affordable. I wasn't like balling trying to figure out how to pay a medical bill, like none of that. So
yeah. I really appreciate the way you talked about health and stress. And many times we're so focused on health insurance, but the health insurance, a lot of times these conditions that we have in terms of physically and psychologically are due to stress because
yeah,
of where we're living. So I'm so glad you pointed that out. That was excellent. Somebody said, yes, I'm ready for less stress. This environment is chaotic. Yes, and toxic. Exactly, exactly.
you have
So
access
if
to more
uh,
fresher foods. Why do you have access to
mhm,
more, like so yeah. So that's when you thinking about the US, think about, what we are made to consume and how, a lot of that has to do with our health conditions,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Um
But a lot of our health conditions come from the stress, but also that generational stress, right? So when we think about Black people and hypertension, think about all that we've had to go through. And I just read an article not that long ago from the American Heart Association that Black women are now developing cardiovascular disease at earlier ages and dying earlier, right? And looking at ways that external issues like toxic jobs impact us more significantly, right?
Yeah.
So this is like perfect in terms of really understanding that we have options, like you definitely pointed out. We have options. You can go someplace else, right? And do your work on your own terms. So if people want to contact you about moving to Jamaica, how can they contact you at this point?
So, you can. So we have a website. It's in development. It's berjamaica.com. Um, there's that, and we currently offer consultations. We're in the process of developing relocation tours. But honestly, the community has been like the biggest. The community is so important. Even though we were on Facebook and Facebook was kind of like toxic, I want to say like it made, for the people who are actually there for the right reasons, made the process so much easier. So filtering out like all the unnecessary stuff and just having that community of people who get it, who understand like why we coming out here to Jamaica. That's been the most important thing. So when the community is officially launched, I recommend you join if you are interested in moving to Jamaica. But the website is berjamaica.com. Please go follow our social media for now because stuff is still in development. You may go there and may not see anything if you go to the website. So go to our Facebook and our Instagram, follow us on there for now, and we will announce when we are officially launched and ready to accept members into our community. That's the guidance that I have for moving to Jamaica. I also give consultations. If you are wanting my personal help, it's at mochamoizelle.com/guidance sessions. I probably need to type all this stuff out.
Oh, I'm just gonna put on description section.
Okay.
I'll put on description section, everybody. Yeah.
So I do those. I also developed a move abroad starter kit. So basically, I try to condense all the things that you need to start with to prepare the thought process to begin moving abroad. I made a starter kit. So again, I picked up and hopped. That may not necessarily be your situation. And I don't advise, if well, I don't know, it depends. But if you would like more insight on the process, I go get the Move Abroad starter kit. That's on my website as well, and I'm sure the link will be posted. But it's a very introductory like roadmap as to what to how to start, what to start looking into, the cost of living, the visa, and the residency options. That's very important.
Mm.
Please, don't come breaking nobody's laws talking about I said just come over here and move. No, that's not what I said. Like most countries have their processes, right? You will be going through an immigration process if you are trying to live somewhere, permanently or a long time. It's the same thing the immigrants have to go through when they're trying to come to America. So don't
Yeah.
think you can bypass that and have be able to have residency or establish anything long term.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um,
Okay.
yes.
So as we're winding down, Mocha, what would you say to a Black woman who might be watching this right now and she hates her job and she feels stuck because people in her family are telling her to stay at that job? What would you say to her?
I would say if you can't quit immediately, start getting the exit strategy. Start getting the exit strategy and don't worry about don't let that fear of not having that income again, just taking a break and not having to focus on necessarily just making money for survival, it will free your mind up to create so many different means and opportunities for you. So don't let that be your fears or what am I going to do about money. Those it will come in some form or fashion, but you have to rest your brain and your body
Yes.
Give yourself, the time to rest and just heal. But if you cannot quit immediately, I used I was horrible. Like I didn't care. But I would still go to another job. I would quit and I was like, all right, let me just go to the next thing because I
You would
thought
jump to
maybe
another
it'll get better
one.
with this one. Maybe it'll get better with
Yeah.
this one. It
Yeah.
don't. It
Yeah.
definitely at least.
Yeah.
So start developing a plan, an escape
Yeah.
plan. Get your
Yes.
Harriet Tubman on for yourself.
Ah, yes.
You are going to escape. If
Yes.
you can't quit immediately, if you don't have anything saved up, at least start planning and mapping out ways you can take your skill set or whatever it is that you have to generate income with it. Part-time online income, if you can find that, that'll be great. I also so I've like the end of last year, I want to say October, November, December, I went on Coursera. I got like 4 professional certifications, and they were all based around like remote friendly jobs. So I got a certification in digital marketing, e-commerce. I got a certification in SEO. I got one in project management. I got another one in social media, something like that. All of them were centered around being able to do them virtually. So if you don't feel like you have skills, I got an affiliate link for them too.
Okay.
But
You guys gonna come up today.
like the it's so many opportunities out here now. If you don't have the skill set, you can learn them. And what I liked about Coursera is that I actually got like a certificate. They actually take you through like courses. You can learn stuff on YouTube, that's fine, but it was not really expensive with Coursera. And again, it's like a structured class program. Like you're not all over trying to research how to do this. It's all there, it's all linear, it's all
Yeah.
digital. You can save the notes right there in the platform. That's what I did. So like start preparing your exit strategy. If you think you could, you would rather be working online or at Freedom or whatever it is, start mapping out what it is that you need.
Yeah.
For yourself, that and see where resources are available to do that with.
Yeah.
So I did that. And again, I did that for myself also to build my brand and things that I want to do. But at some point I probably will be offering my services because I'm building a social media network. I don't know if I mentioned that.
You did not mention that.
And once
You
I'm done
downplayed
with
that. You just talk about Facebook. Why you got off Facebook, but you talk about
yes,
the social
so
media.
that's how desperate I
Yeah.
was to get off of Facebook. I was like, I know how to do. I've done websites and things. I'm media proficient. I know how to do this, but I ain't never did no social network. I was like, let me figure this out. So
Yes.
that's what I'm doing, and I'm gonna do some more when I'm done with this one because there's so many different communities that are in need, but Facebook ain't the best place for them sometimes, and I can customize it and tailor it. Like this group, this community that I'm building is like so specific to Jamaica and people who want to live out here. And it is very thorough, and all the, information that people need is all there. It's all accessible. You don't have to filter through posts, all organized, all structured. I'm so proud of myself, and I'm ready to see what's going to happen with the next one. But yeah, you can get on the internet, see what skills you can acquire. That's not too stressful.
Yeah.
Um, or what do you have currently that you can do? Like that's my recommendation is to start making your exit plan if you can't just quit. Because I would just quit and just figure it out and just struggle for a while until
But I think that takes a certain confidence,
yeah.
right? That you know that you have the skills that you can find another job, right? But
And
even though you're like, this is not what makes me happy. I don't want this. Yeah.
I was like, if worst comes to worst, you can just get another job. Like they
Exactly. That's the worst case scenario.
ain't going nowhere. You can get
Right.
a job if what you
Yeah.
do fails, or at
Yes.
some point you need more consistent revenue. You just get another job. They're not going nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And someone said in the chat, congratulations, Mocha, and best wishes on your continued success.
Thank you.
And yes, and I just want to say too that I love what you just said, that you are proud of yourself. Because I think enough of us don't really sit with that, right? Being proud with ourselves. And I think a lot of times we beat ourselves up that we were at these toxic jobs and we stayed there. And right. So how do we practice that self-forgiveness? But how are we proud of ourselves about what we're doing and
Some
what
people
directions we're
deserve
going
us
in?
anyway. They didn't deserve me. They didn't deserve
They did not deserve you. These toxic jobs do not deserve us. Okay. They
me.
do not deserve us. We deserve so much better. And Mocha, what you said too about we have to be able to rest so that we are healing, because I talked about this before. Healing is an ongoing journey, especially when you've been in a toxic job. The rest is essential because workplace trauma is a trauma. It is a trauma. So you need to be able to heal from that, and when we rest, we get greater clarity, right? So my hope is that for all of us, that we're able to recognize the signs, like Mocha talked about the signs, right? That we're able to recognize who is telling us what, and when do we say, no, I reject that. That's not for my life. I don't want that for my life. And knowing that we deserve something better. So we talked about a number of resources that will be available to you, that will be in the description section on YouTube. Okay. So if you're watching me on a different platform, it will be on YouTube. So again, my YouTube channel is Lifting Us with Climb Consulting Wellness Services. And Mocha, what is your YouTube channel?
Mocha Moizelle. I'm Mocha Moizelle on everything. How it's spelled right here on the screen.
Okay.
That's it. That's where you can find me. Mocha Moizelle, Mocha Moizelle, Mocha Moizelle. Everywhere. YouTube,
Okay.
Instagram, TikTok.
Okay.
I'm famous on TikTok. So
Okay. So listen, everybody subscribe to her channel.
please.
Okay. And again, I'll have the resources that she mentioned in the description section of my YouTube channel. Also subscribe to my channel, Lift As We Climb Consulting Wellness Services. So we talked about resources that Mocha has. I also have resources for you. So if you're a Black woman in a toxic job and you're ready to leave, I have the Black Women Healing from Toxic Jobs coaching program. So I have a cohort going on now, a new cohort starting Wednesday, and then the next cohort would be starting late March. So if you would like to get on the waiting list for that, I'll have the link for that also. And then I'll be having a free 1 hour training for Black women. How do you leave toxic jobs? And that's free, right? So I'll put the link for that as well. So Mocha, I want to say thank you so much. Oh, I forgot this. Also, I'll be putting in the description section my affiliate link for Stephanie Perry's YouTube challenge, right?
Mhm.
So that's how I met Mocha, was that I participated in Stephanie Perry's YouTube challenge, right? And success challenge. And from there, Mocha was assisting and has been assisting us. And so that's how I met her. Okay. So I will put the affiliate link, my affiliate link for Stephanie Perry's YouTube Success Society and challenge in the description section. And I would absolutely say, if you are a Black woman and you want to have a YouTube channel and you want your YouTube channel to grow, you need to register for this class. Okay. So
Stephanie is she's the GOAT.
she's
Like,
the goat. She's the
yeah.
goat, right? And when we talk about a life of ease, you've heard us talk about this in this conversation. Stephanie's the epitome of that, right? So
Mhm.
she really emphasizes for Black women to live a life of ease because we deserve it, and that we shouldn't be waiting for retirement for us to live our best lives, right? Each day is a gift, and we need to take it as a gift. And those places that don't accept us or they don't value us, I don't know where that quote was. I don't know if you know the quote, Mocha, was, if people don't appreciate your presence, then give them the gift of your absence,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So
Very much.
bye, right?
Yes.
If you don't appreciate me, then bye. Okay. I got other places to go, you know what I'm saying? So again, everyone, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you again, Mocha, for tuning
Thank
in and
y'all.
sharing your story, right? And so again, her information will be in the description section. Please subscribe to both of our channels. On Thursday, I'll have a panel talking about, it's going to be a panel of Black women in toxic jobs, talking about going from pet to threat. And what that means is that when we're in these jobs, many times, people seek us out because Black women, we are phenomenal, right? So they seek us out and they kind of take what we have, our brilliance, and then
Mm-hmm.
we're the pets. Like, oh, Mocha's so great. Mocha can do this. Mocha can do that, right? Then when Mocha starts outshining people, right? Then Mocha becomes a threat. And we got to get Mocha out. Just like that woman set her up, right?
I need for
So
Black women to understand all that energy and effort. Imagine if you were to put that into yourself, because Black women are literally brilliant. Like we
yes,
really are. If
yes,
you were to put that, it's gonna take a while. Because I
yeah,
think a lot of people, want immediate, but it's gonna take. But imagine putting that into yourself,
yes,
child. You be
yes,
unstoppable.
yes,
You
on
don't even
another
know
level.
yourself. You don't
Yes.
even know.
Yes, unstoppable. We got to
Mhm.
remember that we are unstoppable, okay?
You are
We got
brilliant.
not gonna let these toxic jobs stop us, okay? But we have to realize that we need to heal, and so we have resources for that. If you feel like you need to heal outside the country, Mocha can help you with that too, okay? So again, please look at all the links and resources that we have for you, and I hope that you will tune in on Thursday as we talk about Black women and toxic jobs from
One
pet
last
to
thing.
threat. Yes.
Last thing. So I
Yes.
am. So one of the communities that I will be building after I'm done with this one is the Bougie Auntie International Society. And it is for women such as myself. So don't get caught up in the title, but it's basically I'm trying to create a space for Black women who want to grow and travel and experience. You come into your best bougie auntie self. I'm making a community for us, for we, and it's going to be extensive. I'll I'll be sending a link for that as well. But yes, so it is a thing, and it will the bougie auntie takeover will soon be occurring. So just prepare yourself. It is happening.
It is happening. And I want to say one last thing too, Mocha, is that you are an example of what happens when we are not oppressed, right? Mentally, spiritually, right? Physically. What happens in terms of all that creativity is
Hmm.
downloaded to you, right? So you remind me of like Alicia Keys, like this girl's on fire. Like you're on fire. Like you like all these different ideas, like, oh, and I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, right? And I want Black women to be able to see you
Yes,
and
yes.
know that's possible for them too. And it is. It
Yes, it
is.
is. When I tell
Yes.
you, I was child, me and Jobs just did not. It was not happening. So
It was
yes,
not a good,
get
yeah. It
your
was not a
healing
good relationship.
break and like all this stuff was like, don't worry about all this stuff will come to you on
Yes.
what you need to do. Like I would have never imagined 2 years ago, the stuff that I'll be doing now. But
Yeah. And you know why? You couldn't see it because you were so
right,
distracted by those jobs.
yep,
You know
yep.
what I'm saying? They didn't appreciate or value you.
Hmm.
So, ladies, please listen and share this video with other Black women. And Mocha, again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time. And so I'm going to sign off. Hopefully, again, you will be here on Thursday. So, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific time, Lifting Us with Climb Consulting Wellness Services. Okay, so have a good night. And Mocha, if you could stay on for one moment, okay? Okay, bye bye, everyone.